Hello fellow YouTubers. So for a while now, I think twice I did it, but I posted a video of my turn signal stock malfunctioning. So basically what happens is left side's good, but when I go to put it on the right side, the high beams come on. It's getting to the point now where it does it every time, no matter how much I try to tap it or keep it from doing it, it's gonna do it. Not the left side, just the right side. So I went ahead and I bought a new stock. I didn't take it out of the thing yet, but this is basically what it is. That's the lever there. The hazard switch is included. I'm actually quite surprised that the I'm going to tear that off, but the font is the original font found on my stock here. I wasn't sure if it was going to be some sort of aftermarket, but it does have the GM badge on it. So got it at the parts store for about 60 bucks, even though I really don't want to dish out that much, but I guess it's a pretty complex device. Plus on this one, on this specific car, your headlamp controls and cruise controls are also placed on the stock itself. So I'm assuming what I have to do is the column, and I know the lighting is not good at all because it is indeed nighttime. The column comes apart in two pieces from the looks of it, right down there. The problem is I gotta figure out how to get it off. So there are holes underneath the column, but there are no screws there. So what my plan of action is I'm going to take off this bottom panel here, and I'm thinking I can remove the cover for the cluster since it goes over top of it. So I'm taking off the bottom piece because I'm assuming there might be some screws or something under here that's keeping the instrument cluster on. So I'm gonna go ahead and try that first. Now from what I can see, better put the light back on again. There's only two screws for the bottom piece. There's one there, and there's one over there by the computer port. Wait, that's not it. It's over there somewhere, I just saw it. Those pins are not connected to this when I was trying to kind of see what was connected under there. So that pulls loosely. So I'm going to go ahead and give this a try. Now, one thing you also got to keep in mind too is the airbag. And that's something I'm not too thrilled about working around. You never know. So, if you're trying this at home like I am, be very, very cautious. Well, I was partially right. Okay, so yeah, the screw's underneath there, but pry off the side access panel, and there's another screw right there. So, good call for me to do. That's got a yellow coat or harness on it right there. That might be one of the airbag wires. Because I think the airbag wires are usually in some sort of yellow jacket kind of thing. Harness. There might be one in the column too. Alright, so the nice thing is I got that piece off. Now what I did was there was the one screw on this side, and the other side, that screw was right there above the computer plug, where that notch is. So you take that screw out, the one screw over here on this side, and then you have to remove the centerpiece, which I covered when we did the whole stereo issue thing. You remove the ignition plate and just simply carefully pry it off from the top, and then you can pull down the whole panel. So that's that. From there, I'm surprised there was no screws holding on the instrument cluster, so I pulled it from the bottom. That part pried off, and it's prying off all the way around. So just gotta get this other on. There we go. Oh, you want to be careful because the dimmer switch is actually still plugged into that, so be very careful when you're lifting up on that. So yeah, that's okay. Now from there, I was hoping maybe there'd be a way to pry open the console, because there's no screws in those holes. So I'll let you know what I figure out here in a second once I figure it out. Oh. Okay, here's where I stand. Definitely a little bit more than what I thought I was gonna have to do. Alright, so what happened was I was right. The top of the cluster will simply just come apart. Not simply, you kind of have to pull on it. The part that tucks underneath the steering wheel is kind of difficult to pull off, and then I had to pull off the gauge cluster, which was something I was hoping I really wasn't gonna have to do. I started the car so the battery charges up. So I didn't actually unplug the cluster. The harness for the gauge cluster is actually at the very top underneath, or at the, yeah, over there on the right hand side. You really can't see it, but it's basically kind of like right around where the fuel gauge is. So I had to undo that because the it tucks in under there, under the cluster, and that was going to be the only way to actually get to that cover coming off, because it was really tight. But needless to say, we got it off. So let me recap everything for you real quick one more time. Simply, I would start off by pulling off the centerpiece. You don't have to remove it fully like I did, you just got to loosen it up. Unscrew the screw around the emergency brake pedal and by the computer port. The screw, one screw right there on the left side of the cluster. Pull that piece off. Yeah, and then make sure you pull off the piece for the cluster, the actual top piece. Remove the gauge cluster, and then carefully try to pull that top piece off of the center console. So now, after I let this charge up a little bit, the car, I mean, we're gonna go ahead and figure out how to remove this, and I'm hoping it's not gonna be that difficult. Alright. Okay, so far we're doing pretty well. You have to pull off the bottom piece of the column, because both of the screws, which are going to be star bits, that's what they look like. Oops. There's two of them. There's the one, and the other one's right there. One is on the top right there, next to the hazard switch. The other one is going to be right there, off to the left side. So you have to pull the column down a little bit, the cover, and then I turned the wheel over like that so I can get to it. Amazingly enough, there's just enough room to get the screwdriver in there. It's going to be real fun trying to put that screw back in, I feel. So it's loose. Now we have to unhook the wires that are attached to it, and then we'll put in the new one. Alright guys, I kind of carried over into the next day just because it was really dark and the quality of this tutorial would not be very good. Plus it was kind of getting difficult for me to see, and my phone died. Anyway, what a mess I have here. So the old stock's now off. Getting this off isn't too hard. There's just the couple of wiring harness here. It's still kind of dark, I apologize. And then there's this harness back here. I also found a flashlight this morning. But that harness there, it's taped around to the other side, so I had to cut the tape because on the bottom of that tape is the that's going to be difficult, but it's the release for the small wire here. You have to push in on the bottom where the tape is, and this will pull allow the harness to come out. So that's the old one, and now we'll put on the new one, and we'll see how it works. At this point, I'm not entirely sure, but I did have to take off the bottom half of the steering column, which it wasn't that easy to do at first. Just trying to get around the tilt lever. Getting it back on was actually pretty easy because with this cover on, you're not really going to be able to get to those that one wiring harness that runs those two wires. This one here, that's kind of deep down in there, so it's a lot easier if you take the bottom half of the column off, and then I just kind of put it back on for now. So the new one's in place, it's all hooked up. I know the hazards work already, so that's good. I'm going to have to screw down the stock so I can test it out, because it might work now. Yeah, left one works, right one works, no high beams, that's good. Flash to pass work, actual high beams work. Try and turn. Okay, light switch works. I'll check the cruise control later today when I go out. I think we're good here. That second screw there is kind of a pain, that one that's on the side of the wheel. So I had to pull this down again just a little bit so I can get that. You might want to wait to put this bottom piece back on, but at the same time this goes on a lot easier when the column or the stock is actually loose. So yeah, it's up to you. I just kind of bent it down a little bit more, and then you'll want to make sure that all of the wires and stuff obviously go back behind that. So we'll go ahead and get it worked, start putting everything back together now. Trying to get that thing back on. It takes a while. Okay, so once the column is in place, we'll go ahead and put in the 4 screws. For the gauge cluster. Cluster is screwed down. I already hooked up the wire to the cluster trim. So now all we have to do is push this back into place. Looks good as new so far. And now we have to do the bottom part of the column.
Okay, the bottom dashboard screws are in place.
The one over here on the side's in place, so all we have to do now is well, you gotta put this panel on over here. Okay, that's done. We have to reface the center stack. Which we've done this many times before, as I've mentioned earlier. And put the ignition ring back on. And that is how you change out the turn signal stock in an 08 Grand Prix, and quite possibly the whole generation from 2004 to 2008. Yep, so we're good. Hope this video has helped anybody who might have had a similar situation with this car, or any other car for that matter, just because I'm sure it's most likely the same kind of thing in many cars. It's just a pain trying to get off that console cover, and I honestly don't even think I got it completely 100% perfect. But it'll do for now. Alright, well, thanks for watching, guys. Another problem with the Grand Prix solved, amongst many other mysterious problems. It even comes back so smooth too after it turns off. Definitely a different sound and a different feeling from what that other one had. No high beams. Very nice. Cruise works too. So we're good there.